Okay, today we introduce Kriya. Kriya exercises are considered to be purifying exercises. They are described in a symbolical way, but their purpose is, many people interpret the cleaning or the purification as physical purification, physical cleansing. Because if you read the text, it seems that is suggested there. But that is only if you ignore the fact that it is written in symbolical language. Like everything else is written in symbolical language, this is no different. The purpose of Kriya is to prepare the student for energy control, which is done by mind control, the power of the mind. In chapter 1, you lay the foundation for yoga, for your practice. We will read chapter 1 when we're done with the introduction of pranayama. But in practice, we have already done chapter 1 with yama niyama, with the practice of asana, and a little bit of talk about creating the circumstances in which to practice. We will go into detail when we read chapter 1. But assume that we finish chapter 1 and we now start with chapter 2, which Sutra 1 of chapter 2 introduces pranayama. The yogin, having perfected themselves in the asanas, should practice pranayama according to the instructions of the guru, with the senses under control, conforming to a beneficial moderate diet. So, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama is introduced here. But then we end up at Sutra 21. Sutra 21 says, one who is flabby and phlegmatic should first, before the practice of pranayama, practice the 6 acts. Others who do not have these defects should not practice them, the 3 humors, wind, bile, and phlegm, being equally balanced in them. Now, do you understand anything of this text? No, most people don't, even teachers don't. Somebody who is flabby and phlegmatic is somebody who is not properly conditioned yet. So you have started with your practice and your study, but you're still tamas. You're not sattvic enough. You don't really feel energy yet. That is somebody who is flabby and phlegmatic. So before the practice of pranayama, you should practice the 6 acts first, the Kriya exercises. It also says, in other words, this sutra says, if you are properly prepared and in a good condition, you don't need to do these Kriya exercises. Sutra 22, no wait, let me clarify, because the last sentence says, others who do not have these defects should not practice them, the 3 humors, wind, bile, and phlegm, being equally balanced in them, which means sattva. These 3 conditions being equally balanced is an indication, is another word of saying being in sattva. Sutra 22. These 6 acts, kriyas, are named Dhauti, Vashti, Neti, Trataka, Nauli, and Kapalabhati. Now you have to pay attention. Sutra 23 says, these 6 acts that purify the body should be kept secret, as they produce various wonderful results, and as such are held in high esteem by great yogins. This sutra tells you that you have to keep these Kriya exercises secret. You have to see this from the perspective of 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, when people were not educated, when people were living almost like animals, with no intellect, just physical power, and of course, lots of emotions and desires, instinct. If you look at it from that perspective, yoga is a system that empowers people. It truly empowers people. You don't want people who do not have a moral foundation to be empowered, because that leads to evil, or it leads to black magic, or it leads to selfish acts. So better let them stay dumb. Better let them stay simple. If yoga is done correctly, you start with a moral foundation, yama and niyama, so that the empowerment that you receive will not be abused for evil purpose. But that is why it should be kept secret. Okay, so this is clear. It has to be kept secret. So we go to Sutra 24, and Sutra 24 says, here, Dhauti is described. Slowly swallow a wet piece of cloth 4 fingers broad and 15 spans long. And this is important, according to the instructions of the Guru. Then draw it out again. This process is called Dhauti. Can you see what's going on here? So Sutra 23 says this must be kept secret. Then Sutra 24 says swallow a wet piece of cloth, let it soak in your stomach, and then pull it out again. And what do people do? Exactly this. There are people who do this. But the previous sutra said it should be kept secret. And this sutra says, swallow a wet piece of cloth, draw it out again, according to the instructions of the Guru. A real Guru, a properly educated, trained Guru knows what this means. Because this is symbolical language. If you're properly initiated into yoga, you know that, one, if you actually do this literally, you damage your body. Your throat, your stomach become damaged if you actually do this. Yoga is not supposed to damage anything. It's a healing power, not a damaging power. So there, you already have to think there, doesn't make sense. Something here doesn't make sense. But the previous sutra said it must be kept a secret, and Sutra 24 just tells you how it works. You realize what is happening here? Sutra 23 says it must be kept a secret. Sutra 24 is not going to tell you how it really works, because it has to be kept secret. Right? And that is why you need the Guru. And he will explain how it really works, or she. Also, if this is supposed to be a preparation for pranayama, energy control, how is swallowing a wet piece of cloth into your stomach and then pulling it out again, how is that going to prepare you for energy control? It doesn't. You're being tricked here. It's a booby trap. If you take this book and you do it on your own, you're going to swallow a wet piece of cloth and you will throw away the book and never do it again. Because it's disgusting. Or if you do this, and you do this with a teacher who is not properly initiated into yoga, you will lose your trust in that teacher. Unless you're very fanatic, then you will just keep doing those damaging things until later into the future. And the teacher will always say, I don't have to do this anymore because I'm purified already. So they let you swallow a piece of cloth and they won't do it themselves. I'm purified enough already. How is this helping you to prepare for pranayama? Remember what pranayama is. We talked about it last week. Six chakras. For this purpose, we don't need Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra. The moon gate, Chandra Bindu, the sun gate, Surya Bindu, Shiva energy flows from the top to the bottom. Shakti energy flows from the bottom to the top. Kriya is a clever form of visualization that helps you become familiar with the process of energy control. Because pranayama is about stimulating the inflow of Shiva and Shakti depending on what you want to achieve. If you feel that you are in a very tamas condition, you increase the amount of Shakti so that you come out of your tamas condition and become sattvic. If you're very rajas, active, restless, you focus on taking in lots of Shiva energy so that you come down and you end up in sattva. But if you tell that to people, they say, what are you talking about? Energy. How can I increase my energy? It starts with imagination, the power of the mind. We talked about Ajna Chakra first. I gave you an example of prayer and the power of thought. And that is the principle based on which we do pranayama. You swallow a piece of cloth, imagine, not really, you imagine swallowing a piece of cloth that goes through the throat, the chest, and into the stomach. Then you pull it out again. From the stomach to the chest, the throat, and the mouth. What have you done? You have let Shiva descend, and you let Shakti rise. Now, maybe it doesn't make sense yet, but in the second session we will do another. The next Kriya, Vashti. Next week we will do 2 more Kriyas, and you will start to see how it all connects. It is a wonderful system that prepares you fully for lesson 19, where we start practicing pranayama. And when we arrive at lesson 19, pranayama is a piece of cake. Even if you don't believe that you can control energy, Kriya has prepared you for how to do it. So this is the first Kriya, Dhauti. When we're done, you start your meditation with this. You visualize the tract from the middle of the head going down to the stomach, approximately Manipura chakra, and then up again. So if you keep it simple and you have the sensitivity and you believe that this is actually working, All you have to do is visualize, concentrate. You have to concentrate. And you follow the tract from the center of the head to the stomach, and then from the stomach to the center of the head. And you repeat that a couple of times. Just play with it. Experiment. See it as an experiment, like a child with a new toy. This does not work if you don't believe it, when you're skeptical. You have to, even if you don't believe it, give it the benefit of the doubt, see where it goes with the next Kriya, and then next week, the next 2 Kriya. Just give it the benefit of the doubt until you have a complete picture of how this works. So until then, just try it out, just play with it with an open mind. There's one more sutra that will explain the effects. There's always, with an exercise, there's a sutra that explains how it works, and then sutra that explains the effects. 25, by the efficacy of Dhauti, bronchial diseases, asthma, plia, leprosy, and other skin diseases, and 20 other diseases brought on by phlegm disappear. There is no doubt about this. The diseases that are described here are either diseases of the throat and the lungs, or diseases, chronic diseases like eczema, skin disease. Skin disease is a disease that is caused by tamas condition. People with overall lack of energy, they develop chronic diseases. And atopy and eczema, those diseases are chronic diseases. Doctors have no cure for them. All that they can do is oppress the symptoms by giving you some creams and maybe some steroid injections, but there's no cure. Unless your energy condition changes, it will keep bothering you. What you are doing here, the power of thought, energy goes where your thought goes. If you focus, if you take it serious and you focus, you increase the amount of energy here, from here to here. So any possible diseases that you have at this location, in this part of your body, they will at least improve if you do it regularly. It's not like a chemical pill you get from the doctor, from the pharmacy. This is holistic medicine. So you need to repeat it before you start to see results. If you do it once, it won't lead to healing. If you do it regularly, it will lead to healing. It's like homeopathic. You know homeopathic medicine? You take a couple of drops of something, you mix it with a lot of water, so the dilution is very great, and you drink it. But you have to do it 3 times a day for a longer period of time before it actually works. Otherwise, it won't work. Questions? So you see also in the one before the last sentence, 20 other diseases brought on by phlegm disappear. Phlegm is another word for tamas condition. Phlegm is the word that they use in Ayurveda, which is the medical branch of yoga. In yoga we call it tamas. In Ayurveda they call it phlegm. It's the same.